Welcome back to the Wholehearted Living podcast. I'm Debs Thorpe, and over the past 2 weeks we've been exploring wholeness. The radical idea that you're not broken, you're just disconnected from the completeness that's been there all along. We've talked about how hustle is often a trauma response and how rest is the path back to yourself. And maybe as you've been listening, a part of you has been thinking, but I am broken. I have trauma, I have wounds, I have parts of me that don't work right. How can you say I'm not broken? And if that's you, this episode is for you. Because today we're going to talk about something that might challenge everything you've ever been taught by the self-help industry, the wellness world, and maybe even by therapists and healers you've worked with. You are not broken. I know you feel broken. I know you might have been told you're broken. I know you've spent years, maybe decades, trying to fix yourself. I know because I've been there too. I spent years believing I was fundamentally flawed, that there was something wrong with me that needed to be corrected, that if I could just heal enough, work on myself enough, fix enough of my issues, then I'd finally be okay. Like there was a destination out there somewhere. But here's what I discovered and changed everything. The belief that you're broken is the thing that keeps you broken. Not because you actually are broken, but because as long as you believe you are, you'll keep trying to fix something that was never broken in the first place. And in that endless cycle of fixing, you'll never arrive at wholeness. Because wholeness isn't something you achieve by fixing yourself. Wholeness is what you remember when you stop trying to fix yourself. So today we're going to explore the myth of brokenness and where it comes from, why the self-help industry profits from keeping you stuck in this belief, the crucial difference between healing and fixing, and how your trauma responses are adaptive, not defective. What it means to be responding to what broke around you, not be broken yourself, and how to begin reconnecting with the wholeness that's been there all along. This might be a bit uncomfortable. It might challenge some of the beliefs you've had for a long time. But I promise you, it might also set you free. So let's begin. So let's start by naming the story you've been sold. From the moment you experienced pain, trauma, or struggle, whether that was in childhood or adulthood, you were given a narrative. Something is wrong with you. You're damaged, you're broken, you need to be fixed. Maybe it came from parents who said, what's wrong with you? Teachers who labelled you as difficult or too sensitive. Doctors who diagnosed you with disorders. Therapists who focused on what's wrong rather than what's adaptive. The self-help industry that sells you solutions to problems you didn't even know you had. And a culture that pathologizes normal human responses to abnormal situations. And over time, you internalized that narrative. You started to believe it. I'm broken, I'm damaged, I'm too much, I'm not enough. There's something fundamentally wrong with me. And once you believe you're broken, you start looking for evidence to confirm it. See, I got triggered again. See, I can't maintain relationships. See, I'm anxious, depressed, I'm struggling, I'm broken. See, I can't seem to get my life together, I'm broken. You become your own prosecutor, constantly building the case against yourself. Now, let's talk about the self-help industry because they've built empires on this narrative. The self-help industry, and I say this as someone who's been part of it, has a vested interest in you believing you're broken. Because if you're broken, you need fixing. And if you need fixing, you need their products, programs, courses, their books or certifications. They sell you the promise, you're broken now, but if you buy this, you can be fixed. And if you buy it, you read the book, you take the course, you attend the workshop, you get the certification. And maybe you feel better for a while, maybe you have some insights, maybe you make some progress. But then the feeling fades and you're back to feeling broken. So you buy the next thing and the next and the next. You become addicted to fixing yourself. And here's the insidious part. The more you try to fix yourself, the more broken you can feel. because the very act of trying to fix yourself reinforces the belief that you're broken. Every time you buy another course, read another book, try another modality, you're saying to yourself, I'm not okay as I am. I need this to be okay. The fixing becomes a problem. And it's not just self-help, it's wellness culture too. Wellness culture has taken the broken narrative and dressed it up in green smoothies and yoga pants. It says you're toxic, you're inflamed, you're imbalanced, you're not optimized, but if you just eat this, supplement that, practice this, biohack that, you can finally be well. And again, there's nothing wrong with taking care of your health. I'm all for it. But when wellness becomes another form of fixing, when it becomes another way to prove you're broken, it's just the same narrative in different packaging. You're still operating from the belief that you're fundamentally flawed and need correcting. I lived this for so many years. I was a therapist. I was trained to identify what's wrong, to help people navigate the ways to try and fix it. And I did that with my clients, and I did that with work on myself. I began to understand diagnoses like PTSD, anxiety, depression. I trained in modalities like CBT, somatic therapy, parts work. I had all the certifications. And I thought, if I just learn enough, if I just heal enough, if I just fix enough of my issues, then I'll finally be whole. But I never arrived because I was chasing something that didn't exist outside of me. I was responding to a lifetime of experiences that had taught me that the world wasn't safe. Any anxiety I felt wasn't a disorder, it was my nervous system trying to keep me safe. My depression wasn't a chemical imbalance, it was my body's way of saying you need to stop. My burnout wasn't a personal failure, it was the natural consequence of years of overriding my needs. I wasn't broken, I was responding. And the moment I understood that, I stopped trying to fix myself and started understanding myself, everything changed. So let's talk about the difference between healing and fixing, because this is pretty crucial. Fixing assumes something is wrong and needs to be corrected. Healing assumes something is wounded and needs to be tended. Can you feel the difference? Fixing is mechanical. It's about taking something broken and making it work again. Healing is organic. It's about creating conditions for the natural wholeness of you to emerge. Fixing is about changing who you are. Healing is about remembering who you are. Fixing sounds like, I need to get rid of my anxiety. I need to eliminate my triggers. I need to stop being so sensitive. I need to fix my attachment style. I need to overcome my trauma. I need to be less broken. Fixing is problem-focused, deficit-based, about elimination and correction. It's soft and harsh and forceful, rooted in shame, like there's something wrong with me. And it's never ending because there's always something else to fix. Fixing treats you like a machine with faulty parts that need replacing. Healing sounds like, I want to understand my anxiety and what it's trying to protect me from. I want to learn what my triggers are teaching me. I want to honour my sensitivity as a gift, not a flaw. I want to understand my attachment patterns and create new ones. I want to integrate my trauma and reclaim my wholeness. I want to remember I was never broken. Healing is growth-focused, strength-based, about integration and understanding. It's gentle and compassionate. It's rooted in curiosity, like, what is this trying to tell me? It's ongoing, but not endless. You are always whole, even while healing. Healing treats you like a living being with innate wisdom and capacity for growth. And here's the beautiful paradox. We'll touch on this many times throughout this series, that when you stop trying to fix yourself, that's when healing happens. Because healing requires you to accept yourself as you are right now in this moment, including the parts that hurt, the parts that struggle, the parts that don't fit the mold. Fixing says you're not okay until you change, Healing says you're okay right now and you can still grow. Fixing is rooted in rejection of self. Healing is rooted in acceptance of self. And you cannot heal what you reject. You can only heal what you accept. Now, let's talk about trauma responses, because this is where the broken narrative does the most damage. When you experience trauma, and remember, trauma is any experience that overwhelms your capacity to cope, your nervous system adapts. It develops strategies to keep you safe. Fight through aggression, control, anger, pushing through. Flight through anxiety, hypervigilance, constant doing, escaping. Freeze through numbness, disassociation, shutting down. And fawn through people-pleasing, over-accommodating, losing yourself to keep others happy. These are not disorders. These are not defects. These are not signs that you're broken. These are adaptive responses that kept you alive. Let's look at each one and see the intelligence behind it. Fight. If you learn that the world is hostile and you need to defend yourself, fighting makes sense. Your aggression, your need for control, your anger, these protected you from being hurt or overpowered. Flight. If you learned that danger could come at any moment, being hypervigilant makes sense. Your anxiety, your constant scanning for threats, your inability to rest, these kept you prepared for danger. Freeze. If you learned that you couldn't fight or flee, that the threat was too big or too close, freezing makes sense. Your numbness, your disassociation, your shutdown, these protected you from feeling pain you couldn't escape. Fawn. If you learned that your survival depended on keeping others happy, people-pleasing makes sense. Your over-accommodation, your loss of self, your inability to say no, these kept you safe from rejection or abandonment. Every single one of these responses is intelligent. Every single one of them served a purpose. You're not broken for having them, you're brilliant for developing them. Here's what's important to understand. The problem isn't that you have these responses. The problem is that they're still running even when the original threat has gone. Your nervous system learned these patterns in situations where they were necessary. But now your nervous system is still running those same patterns, even in situations where they're not necessary and where they actually might be causing harm. That doesn't make you broken, that makes you human. Your nervous system is doing exactly what it was designed to do, keep you safe based on past experience. Your work isn't to fix yourself. The work is to help your nervous system learn that it's safe now, that the threat is gone, that you have new options. That's not fixing, that's updating, that's healing. So when you feel anxious, when you shut down, when you people please, when you get angry, you're not broken. You're responding to what broke around you. Maybe what broke was your family system, your sense of safety, your trust in others, your belief that the world is benevolent, your right to have needs, your permission to be yourself. Those things broke. You didn't. You adapted to survive in a broken situation. That's not the same as being broken yourself. And this reframe, this shift from I'm broken to I'm responding, it changes everything. Because if you're broken, you need fixing. But if you're responding, you need understanding, compassion, and new information. You need to learn that you're safe now, that you have choices now, that you can respond differently now. And that's healing, that's growth, that's wholeness. Here's the image I want you to hold. Imagine your wholeness as a seed, a perfect, complete seed. Now, imagine that seed gets buried under layers of soil, layers of trauma, conditioning, survival patterns, protective mechanisms. The seed is still whole. It's still complete. It's still perfect. It's just covered. You are that seed. Your wholeness is still there. Beneath all the layers, it never left. It never broke. It's just being covered over by everything you had to do to survive. And the work, the healing work, isn't about fixing the seed. It's about removing the layers that are covering it. It's about releasing the survival patterns that no longer serve you, shedding the conditioning that taught you to be someone that you're not, letting go of the protective mechanisms that are now keeping you stuck, peeling back the layers to reveal the wholeness that's been there all along. You're not creating wholeness, you're uncovering it. And here's something really important. Your wholeness doesn't mean you don't have any wounds. It means you're whole even with the wounds. Wholeness isn't perfection. Wholeness isn't the absence of pain or struggle or difficulty. Wholeness is the capacity to hold all of it, the light and the dark, the healed and the wounded, the strong and the vulnerable. Think about the earth. The earth holds everything. Beauty and decay, growth and death, nutrients and toxins, light and darkness. And the earth is still whole. It's not broken because it contains difficult things. It's whole because it can hold it all. You're like the earth and you can hold it all and you're still whole. Your anxiety doesn't make you broken. Your trauma doesn't make you broken. Your struggles don't make you broken. They make you human. They make you real. They make you someone who's lived and survived and adapted. And you're whole. You've always been whole. So the invitation isn't to fix yourself, it's to remember yourself. To remember who you were before the world told you who you needed to be. What you knew before you learned to doubt yourself. The wholeness that existed before the layers that covered it. The completedness that's been there all along. You don't need to become whole. You need to remember that that's what you are. Let's come back to the earth for a moment, because nature has a lot to teach us about this, as I'm sure you're realizing through this season. Have you ever seen a tree with broken branches? Maybe from a storm, maybe from age, maybe from disease. The branch is broken, but the tree isn't broken. The tree is still whole. The tree doesn't say, I'm defective because I have a broken branch. I need to fix myself before I can grow again. No, the tree continues to grow. It adapts, it sends other nutrients to other branches, it might grow around the wound, it might develop new growth in a different direction. The tree knows a broken branch doesn't mean a broken tree. And you're like that tree. You might have broken parts, broken trust, broken boundaries, broken beliefs about yourself. You might have wounds that haven't fully healed. But those broken parts don't make you broken. You are still whole, you are still growing, you are still the tree. There's a Japanese art form called Kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery with gold. When a bowl or vase breaks, instead of throwing it away or trying to hide the cracks, the artist fills the cracks with gold lacquer. And the piece becomes more beautiful, more valuable, more unique because of the cracks, not in spite of them. The cracks become part of the beauty. The brokenness becomes part of the wholeness. Think of yourself like that pottery. Your cracks, your wounds, your trauma, your struggles, they're not flaws to be hidden or fixed. They're part of your story, part of your beauty, part of what makes you uniquely you. So when you stop trying to hide them or fix them, when you start to honor them as part of your wholeness, that's when the gold appears. That's when you realize, I'm not broken, I'm becoming. And here's what the earth teaches us most powerfully. The ground holds everything, the beautiful and the decayed, the living and the dead, the seeds and the bones. And the ground does not reject any of it. The ground doesn't say this part is acceptable, but this part makes me broken. The ground holds it all. And in holding it all, the ground creates the conditions for new life. You can hold all of yourself, the parts you're proud of and the parts you're ashamed of, the healed parts and the wounded parts, the light and the shadow. And in holding all of yourself with compassion, you create the conditions for healing, for growth, and for wholeness. You don't have to reject any part of yourself to be whole because you're already whole. So how do you begin to remember your wholeness? How do you shift from I'm broken and need fixing, or I'll be whole when I just figure that bit out, to I'm whole and I'm healing? Well, it starts with awareness, with noticing, with gentle questioning. And here are some practices to begin with. First, notice your broken language. Start paying attention to how you talk about yourself, both out loud and in your head. Notice when you say or think, I'm so broken, I'm damaged, there's something wrong with me, I need to fix this, I'm too much this, I'm not enough that. Just notice, don't judge yourself. Just become aware of how often you reinforce this narrative. Secondly, reframe it with curiosity. When you notice that broken language, gently reframe it with curiosity. Instead of, I'm broken because I got triggered, say, I'm responding to something that felt unsafe. What is my nervous system trying to protect me from? Instead of, there's something wrong with me, try, I'm having a human response to a difficult experience. What do I need right now? Instead of, I need to fix my anxiety, try, my anxiety is trying to tell me something. What is it trying to communicate? Curiosity opens the door to understanding. Judgment keeps you stuck in shame. Thirdly, acknowledge your adaptations. Take some time to acknowledge the intelligence of your survival responses. Write or speak out loud, my anxiety, people-pleasing, shut-down anger kept me safe when. This response made sense because. I'm not broken for having this response. I'm intelligent for developing it. Honour the part of you that learned to survive. Thank it for keeping you alive. And then connect with your wholeness. This is a simple but powerful practice. Place your hands on your heart. Feel your heartbeat. Say to yourself, I am whole. I have always been whole. My wounds don't make me broken. I am healing and I am whole. I can hold all of myself with compassion. You don't have to fully believe it yet. Just let the words land. Create space for a new possibility in your nervous system. And then look for evidence of your wholeness. There's a particular part of the brain wired to look for evidence of what you believe. If you believe you're broken, it will find evidence of your brokenness everywhere. So intentionally look for evidence of your wholeness. Moments when you felt connected to yourself. Times when you responded with wisdom or compassion. Instances when you chose differently than your old patterns. Evidence that you're growing, adapting, healing, proof that you're more than your wounds. What you focus on expands. Focus on wholeness and you'll find more of it. Now I want to guide you through just a short meditation to help you reconnect with your inherent wholeness. If it's safe to do so, find a comfortable position, sitting or lying down. And if you're driving or you can't close your eyes, just listen and let the words wash over you. Just close your eyes or soften your gaze. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feel your body. Feel the weight of your body being held by whatever's beneath you, the chair, the floor, the earth. Take another deep breath in and out. Feel yourself arriving in this moment. Now I want you to imagine that beneath all the layers, beneath the anxiety, the trauma, the survival patterns, the conditioning, the wounds, there's a light. A warm, steady light that's always been there. This light is your wholeness, your essence, the part of you that was never broken, never damaged, never wrong. It's been there since you were born. It's been there through everything you've experienced. It's right there now. I want you to breathe into that light. Imagine it getting brighter with every breath. The light doesn't need fixing, it doesn't need improving, it doesn't need to be earned or achieved. It simply is, and it is you. All the layers on top, the survival patterns, the wounds, the adaptations, they're not you. They're what you learn to do. They're how you learn to survive. But underneath, this light remains. Whole, complete, perfect as it is. Breathe into that knowing. Say to yourself, silently or out loud, I am whole. Breathe. I've always been whole. My wounds don't define me, my wholeness does. Breathe into that light. I am not broken, I am becoming. Breathe into that light. Stay connected to that light. Breathe deeply. Breathe into that light. And when you're ready, just gently open your eyes. If you close them, come back into this space. That light, that wholeness is always there. You can come back to it anytime. Anytime you feel a bit broken, anytime you feel like you need fixing, or anytime you just forget, breathe, remember, return to that light. So what changes when you shift from I'm broken and need fixing to I'm whole and I'm healing? Well, everything. You stop chasing. When you believe you're broken, you're constantly chasing the next fix, the next solution, the next thing that will finally make you feel okay. But when you remember you're whole, you stop chasing and you start choosing what's aligned. You choose practices, modalities that support, not because you need them in order to be okay, but because they're going to support your growth and your healing. You're no longer desperate, you're discerning. You also stop rejecting yourself. When you believe you're broken, you reject the parts of yourself that don't fit, that struggle, that hurt. But when you remember you're whole, you can hold all of yourself with compassion. You can say, this part of me is struggling right now, and I'm still whole, and I can hold this. You're no longer at war with yourself, you're at peace. You also stop waiting. When you believe you're broken, you're always waiting to be fixed enough, healed enough, good enough to start truly living, to feel that peace. But when you remember you're whole, you realize you can start living now. You don't have to wait until you're better. You don't have to wait until the right time. You don't have to wait to take up space to pursue your dreams. You're no longer postponing your life, you're living it. You also stop performing. When you believe you're broken, you perform. You show the people the version of yourself that seems acceptable, that seems more together. But when you remember that you're whole, you can be real. You can show up as you are, messy, imperfect, still healing, and you know that you're still whole. You're no longer hiding, you're being. And you start healing. Here's the paradox. When you stop trying to fix yourself, that's when real healing happens. Because healing requires acceptance, and when you can't accept what you're constantly trying to change. When you remember you're whole, you create the conditions for healing, not fixing, healing. So here's what I invite you to practice this week. Firstly, notice your broken narrative. Pay attention to how often you tell yourself you're broken, damaged, or something needs fixing. Just notice, write it down if that helps. Just become aware of the pattern without any judgment or shame. Secondly, reframe one broken thought each day. Choose one of those broken thoughts and reframe it with curiosity and compassion. It goes from I'm broken because to I'm responding to what is it that I need. Thirdly, acknowledge your adaptations. Write a letter to your survival responses. Your anxiety, your people pleasing, your shutdown, your anger. Thank them for keeping you safe. Acknowledge their intelligence. Let them know you're safe now and you're going to learn new ways of responding. They get to retire. Fourthly, practice the wholeness meditation. Use the meditation from today's episode, connecting with the light of the wholeness beneath all the layers, and practice it daily, even for just 5 minutes. Let it become this touchstone and reminder. And then look for evidence of your wholeness. Each day, write down one piece of evidence that you're whole. A moment of connection, a wise choice, a compassionate response, growth that you've experienced, strength that you've shown. Train your brain to see wholeness instead of brokenness. And as you practice this shift, you might feel resistance. The broken narrative is familiar, even if it's painful. grief for all the years you've spent believing you were broken, relief at finally being able to stop fixing yourself, doubt that can it really be this simple, and hope that you might just be whole. All of these feelings are valid. All of them are welcome. This is a profound shift in thinking, so be patient with yourself, be gentle, keep practicing. This, again, is not something you're fixing, it's something you're remembering. So here's what I want you to know deep in your bones. You're not broken, you never were. You're not damaged goods, you're not defective, you're not too much or not enough. You are a human being who has experienced difficult things and adapted brilliantly to survive them. Your anxieties is not a disorder, it's your nervous system trying to keep you safe. Your trauma responses are not defects, they're intelligent adaptations. Your struggles are not evidence of brokenness, they're evidence that you're human. And you are whole, you always have been. You don't need to be fixed, you need to be understood, honoured and supported as you heal. Healing isn't about eliminating your wounds, it's about integrating them. It's about learning to hold all of yourself, the wounded and the whole, with compassion. You're not a project to be completed, you are a person to be loved. And that love starts with you, with remembering that you're whole, with stopping the endless cycle of fixing and starting the sacred practice of healing. So here's my invitation. What if you stopped trying to fix yourself? What if you put down all the books, all the courses, all the modalities just for a moment and simply remembered, I am whole. I have always been whole. I am healing and I am whole. What would change? I think you'd discover something beautiful. The wholeness you've been seeking has been there all along, waiting for you to remember. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to achieve it. You don't have to fix yourself enough to deserve it. You just have to remember. And in next week's episode, we're going to explore grounding practices, that they are the how of how you come back to your body and find the solid ground beneath the chaos and begin connecting with your true self underneath all of these survival patterns. So it's going to be a really great addition to what we've covered here today. Welcome home. Welcome home to your wholeness. And do let me know in the comments how this resonates for you and what it means for you to hear this message today.